Hello everyone, this is MCscarabtrooper here, and today I want to talk about a show I've been watching for over a year now. You may have heard of it. It's called One Piece. Now, first going into One Piece, I did not expect to get as hooked to it as I was, because, a show over 1,000 episodes? Oh boy. Oh boy, that's a lot of episodes. But then after watching it, I realized I think it's probably one of the best animes I have ever watched. And just shows in general. The show itself is obviously about the Straw Hats. Monkey D. Luffy is the main character. But on his crew, you're first introduced to Nami, who she joins his crew, but it takes time. Zoro, also Nami's the navigator. Zoro is the kind of right-hand man of the Straw Hats, Usopp, who is the sniper of the group. Usopp has, I feel, some of the best character development, because when he was first introduced, I did not like him at all. And then he's grown into one of my favorite characters. So, Then you have, who joins after that? Sanji joins after that, who, I don't know how I forgot about that, because Sanji is my favorite character. Of the main cast. But yeah, so Sanji joins, he's the cook. Then Chopper joins, who is the doctor. Then after that, you have Robin, who joins, who is like an archaeologist. Yeah. Her way of joining was one of my favorite ways of a Straw Hat joining. Then you have Brooke, Frankie, and Jinbei, who all join a bit later, Jinbei being the latest. And then there's several kind of characters who stick with the group for a bit, but then leave. Such as Princess Vivi. Man. When people said that the show got good, I was watching the first season, and I was like, it's good, but it's not great. But man, the scenes, once it hit probably around episode 70 or so, I was like, that's when I realized this show is really good. The world building in the show is phenomenal, because you could take something all the way back from episode 1 and then bring it up thousands of episodes later. Well, not that, hundreds, because it only just recently hit the thousands. Man, the show is very, very good at world building. And I'm someone who really likes world building. Big, Star Wars fan, Halo fan. Both the reasons I like those is the world building is very interesting in it. It's like a whole fictional world. It's something I like a lot. Even like JoJo, for example. JoJo has a lot of out there stuff, but then because of the world building of JoJo, you're just kind of like, oh, it's not out of place. And that's how One Piece is. It's like, oh, dang, this is not out of place at all. You could have someone whose power is like giving life to food and stuff, and you're just like, well, that's One Piece for you. But yeah, it's just a very amazing show, because like I said, they bring up just little details of something that will then affect it way later on. And I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't watched it, but yeah, like, man, compared to some other animes and shows I've watched, like, let me think real quick. Like Flash in the Arrow, for example. Let's take those. Those aren't anime. I'll give an anime example later, but those aren't anime. Those two shows I liked a lot. But then they just started to kind of die down and not feel like what the show was at the start. One Piece is completely different from that. Whereas, like, The Flash, I enjoyed that show for a long time. But I will say, around, like, season 3 is where it just kind of was like, yeah, it's kind of not what it used to be. And then, like, The Arrow, it was much later on. I can't remember what season that was because there's a lot of seasons of that. But man, One Piece, there's not really a point. Again, besides the first season where there's some slower moments, there's not really a point that I was like, man, this isn't good. This isn't what it was at the start. Like the Skypiea arc, I know a lot of people like to have skipped. Skypiea, I actually really found enjoyable. And Newell is a very interesting villain. I'm not going to spoil much about him, but very interesting villain. And for people who skipped it, go back and watch it because, yeah, it is important for later on stuff. That's all I'll say. But yeah. And then I know people don't like the art style, but then that's the thing. It wouldn't be One Piece really without the art style. I mean, just like JoJo, if you took away the very defined drawings of these characters, then it's no longer JoJo. You know what I'm saying? You can't have a JoJo anime that just looks like every other anime. It has to specifically have the JoJo art style, and then you're like, oh yeah, JoJo. Same thing with One Piece. I mean, One Piece is kind of a combination of a bunch of art styles. It's weird, but that's what fits. I mean, you don't question it ever because you have very just exaggerated characters for everything. Like these glasses, for example. Doflamingo, who is my favorite villain from One Piece. You have him, who his power is strings, and it's very exaggerated, but because like his personality is he like controls people, he manipulates them to control them and stuff, and his power is string. Like it just makes a lot of sense, you know. That's kind of the fun thing. The powers always tend to make sense for that character, and it fits their personality very well. And then one of the fan favorite characters even has only been like, you've only seen him do like 2 or 3 things, Shanks, yet everyone knows he's the coolest because you hear the stories of Shanks as you're going on. And that's another fun thing about it. The world has events that happen that you might not necessarily see on screen, but you hear that they happen. So it keeps you up to date in what's going on in the show, where characters are and stuff. And then, sure, there will be flashbacks to stuff, but at the same time, sometimes there's not. And you're just like, yeah, that happened because they mentioned this. And then it's like, oh, yeah, the worst generation is a thing because they all decided to stand up and to like the government or other big pirates. So yeah, it's definitely very interesting. I will say the early art style, even though I like it, it gets more refined obviously over time, which is a very big plus. So that's something cool there. This is really just a video I wanted to make because I wanted to talk about One Piece. And yeah, because not a lot of people I know have watched One Piece. If you're one of those people who's into anime for fights, man, there's good fights. If you're one of the people into it for good stories, good stories. Like, there's never really a dull moment, I feel, in it. There are some slower moments, but then those are also very important moments to build character. But yeah, an anime, for example, that I really like, but I feel went downhill. Seven Deadly Sins. Very good anime. I like the story. But then around, I don't know if it was 3 or 4, it did kind of decline. I've watched all of it, but it did just kind of decline in quality and lose my attention at some moments. So, but yeah, I'm someone who, yeah, I like the shonen anime, but like, I never considered that to be like, oh yeah, I'm a huge shonen fan. One Piece is what got me into being a big shonen fan. I mean, the fights in it are great, and again, just the storytelling and everything is great. Because like, since it feels like a whole world, you can basically have anything happen, and it fits. It's like, yeah, this is what could happen in that world. I mean, your characters are, yes, good guys, and they're fighting kind of the world government. You would expect to be good guys, but there are good guys in the world government, but there's also bad guys in the world government. And that's the same as the pirates. There's no like clear line of, oh yeah, this person's, this group of people, pirates, they're bad guys or they're good guys, or the world government, they're bad guys or good guys. There's no clear line. I mean, the government is clearly very corrupt in One Piece, but there are clearly good people that work in like the Navy and stuff, and then even some of like the royal families and stuff. So it's very interesting. As someone again who likes world building, that's a reason I like Star Wars a lot. Like, I know people didn't like the prequels, but having the political side on it where you kind of see the perspective of both sides, it's something I enjoy. It's interesting. It just kind of helps make the world feel more alive, in a sense. But yeah, so if you haven't watched One Piece, I'd recommend giving it a shot, or looking up some clips, seeing what you think, and then being like, okay, I'll watch it. And you can watch first season or so. If you don't like it, just drop it. I watched the first season and I was like, this is pretty good, I'll keep watching. And then I kept watching, and it's just, man, great series. But yeah, I know it's a little strange of a video for me to be making, but I figured I haven't made a video in a bit and I want to make more. I'm trying to figure out what more to talk about because, as I said previously, I like Star Wars. I don't know what I can say that hasn't been said about Star Wars. And like Star Wars, obviously I'm always going to like it. Andor has been actually pretty good, but I don't want to talk about Star Wars a lot because there's just so much I have not liked about it as of late, and then it just makes all my videos pretty negative. So I don't want to just keep doing that. I would like to do some more reviews, but then like my thing is I throw out the boxes, and I know a lot of people like to see the boxes, so I guess I could wait on that, but at the same time it's like I'll get the figure, I open it, I put it on display or something, and then later on is when I'm like, oh, I want to make the review on that, and I'm like, but I don't have the box. So yeah, there's that. So if you'd be interested in more views, kind of let me know. And then the music thing, I want to do more of that as well. Problem is I want to make sure to look into it more, like the creation of the album and stuff. Like I want to do one on Bajas. um, was it Bela Lugosi is Dead for Halloween, and I did record it, and it was probably like 30 minutes or so, and I forgot to click record, and then I got like, I had other stuff I had to do, so then I couldn't do it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Leave a comment if you want to let me know other things you'd want me to talk about or stuff like that. Just kind of, I'm down to engage with the community and stuff. So yeah, this is MC Scarab Trooper, and Arrivederci.